9. After returning from Hajj and while being in the state of Ihram, the Arabs would not enter their homes from the front. They would enter them from the rear. The reason for this queer act probably was the superstition that one should not enter from the doors from which one exited with the burden of sins. After being cleansed of these sins, this would be against piety. The Quran regarded this to be a foolish act and asserted that this is not a virtuous deed. Hence, it must be put an end to. The words are, وَلَيْسَ الْبِرُّ بِأَن تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنِ اتَّقَى وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. This is certainly no virtue that you enter your dwellings from the rear while returning from Hajj and being in a state of Ihram. In fact, virtue is that of a man who adopts piety. And enter your dwellings by their doors and keep fearing God so that you may attain salvation. 10. In the days of Jahiliyyah, the ritual of Hajj had assumed the form of a semi-religious entertainment. Consequently, people would take all sorts of assets and provisions to offer it, but would give little importance to the fact that the real provision which one needs in this journey is the provision of piety. Little would they care that in this journey they should not indulge in lustful activity and not show disobedience and not engage in any altercation. These acts are against the very spirit of this great ritual. The Almighty has directed their attention to these aspects and emphasized that in this journey one's greatest provision is piety. The Quran says, Al-Hajju ashhurum ma'lumat faman farada fihinna al-hajja fala rafasa wala fusuqa wala jidala fil hajj wama taf'alu min khairin ya'lamuhu Allah wa tazawwadu fa inna khayra az-zadi at-taqwa wattaquni ya ulil albab. The months of the Hajj are specific, so anyone who intends to offer it by wearing the ihram should not indulge in lustful activities and should refrain from being disobedient to the Almighty and abstain from altercation. And remember that whatever you do, the Almighty is aware of it. And in the journey of Hajj, take along with you the provision of piety, because the best provision is piety. And O men of intellect, keep fearing me. Surah number 2, verse 197. 11. Owing to this apathy about Hajj, people, instead of worshipping and remembering God and celebrating His glory and exaltedness, would indulge in business, trade, and similar activities. The Quran has clarified that there is no harm if a person engages in business during this ritual, but in reality, the sites of Hajj are not meant for such activities. These great manifestations of knowledge and comprehension should remain specific to the remembrance of God. The Quranic words are, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَبِّكُمْ فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُم مِّنْ عَرَفَاتٍ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ عِندَ الْمَشْعَرِ الْحَرَامِ وَاذْكُرُوهُ كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ وَإِن كُنتُم مِّن قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الضَّالِّينَ. In this journey of Hajj, it shall be no offense for you to seek the bounty of your Lord, but remember that Muzdalifah is no place of amusement and trading. So when you come from Arafat, remember God near the sacred monument or the Mash'ar al-Haram, and remember Him in the way He has guided you. And before this, you were undoubtedly in error. Surah number 2, verse 198. 12. It had become the prerogative of the Quraysh to not go beyond Muzdalifah. They reckoned that they were the custodians and keepers of the Baytullah. So it was not appropriate for them to cross the limits of the Haram. The Almighty did not accept this privilege they granted to themselves and directed them to go to Arafat the way others do. The Quran says, ثُمَّ أَفِيذُ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَفَاذَ النَّاسِ وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Then, O people of the Quraysh, this is also essential, that you return from the place from where other people return and seek the forgiveness of God. God is indeed forgiving and ever merciful. Surah number 2, verse 199. 13. The days at Mina too were spent in eulogistic recitals, storytelling, and in indulging in proving the superiority of one another. Not only this, some people would go as far as to view as great a ritual as Hajj on the basis of their worldly benefits. On this occasion also, if they invoked God, they would also ask for worldly benefits. The Quran has admonished them on this behavior and asserted that such people will have no share in the hereafter. فَإِذَا قَضَيْتُم مَنَاسِكَكُمْ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَذِكْرِكُمْ آبَاءَكُمْ أَوْ أَشَدَّ ذِكْرًا فَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا فَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَمِنْهُم مَن يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا كَسَبُوا وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. After this, when you have fulfilled the rites of Hajj, remember God as you remember your forefathers, in fact, even more. This is the time of asking from God, but there are some who at this instance also say, Lord, give us in this world. And then the result of this is that these shall have no share in the world to come. But there are others who say, Lord, give us what is good both in this world and in the world to come, and save us from the torment of the fire. It is these people who will receive a share of what they earn, and swift is God in taking account. Surah number 2, verses 200 to 202. 14. The worst of these innovations was nude circumambulation of the Kaaba. There was a plank of wood placed in the Kaaba where people would place their clothes after undressing. Then it was only the graciousness of the Quraysh which would cover their bodies. Their men would lend clothes to men and their women to women. However, those who were deprived of this generosity would circumambulate in the nude and would consider it to be an act of virtue. The Quran prohibited this practice and stressed that at all places of worship a person must conceal his private parts and be properly dressed. The words of the Quran are, Ya Bani Adam khuzu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. Children of Adam, adorn yourselves with your clothes at all occasions of attending your mosques.